Welcome back to the channel. My name's Jackson. Today we got some MLB preview for you guys. We're going to be looking at the NL today, going over predictions, team acquisitions and subtractions from the offseason, a look at their lineups, and just kind of how I think they're going to be this season. Starting in the NL East, we got the Atlanta Braves. As you can see right here, they signed Robert Suarez, Ha-Seong Kim, Mike Yaz, Razel Iglesias, some other players to some deals this offseason. None, crazy big-time signings or anything. I'd say Robert Suarez was probably the biggest deal they had this offseason. He's a relief pitcher. They had Ozuna leave, Alex Manoah leave, and then two other players. But, Marcell Ozuna was a pretty decent part of their offense last season. So that would be probably a big subtraction for them. Basically, I don't think they got that much better, if any at all. I mean, last season they finished with 76 wins. I think they're probably going to be around that again this season, even though ESPN has them at 87.5 wins and 18-1 to win the World Series. I don't buy into that at all. I mean, just looking at their opening day lineup, Acuna, Baldwin, Olsen, Riley, Albies, Farmer, Michael Harris, White, Dubon, with Yaz coming off the bench. And their rotation, I mean, they just really have Sale. Everyone else is kind of just there. They lost Spencer Strider today with an oblique strain, so who knows when he's coming back. I mean, really, their success, a lot of it depends on if they can stay healthy, but I still don't even buy into them being close to that 87 wins. I'd probably put them anywhere from 75 to 80 wins this season. So definitely below that 87. Probably going to end up finishing in third, fourth place in the NL East. Now we have the Miami Marlins. This is a team who is probably going to be very young this upcoming season, trading away Edward Cabrera, Ryan Weathers, and some other pieces, and not really getting anything, too much in return, even from this offseason. I think last year that they got hot at the right time at the end and fell just short of the playoffs, ending with like 79 wins, I believe, just above the Braves. And I mean, even though they had 79 wins last season, losing Edward Cabrera is a good piece to lose. I don't believe this team's going to be as good as last season. ESPN has their odds over under at 72.5, and I kind of see them right at that line as well, probably finishing in last place in the NL East. Last season their offense was okay. Best hitter probably Xavier Edwards here. Kyle Stowers, 25 home runs last season. I mean, we don't really know what it's going to play out this year for them because they're so young, and maybe last year was kind of an outlier year for them. But I just don't think, their projected lineup is going to get them anywhere even close to the playoffs. Just looking at it, it's not great. I mean, even Stowers is already down with an injury with the right hammy, so not great. Rotation, Alcantara, and then, kind of like the Braves, just everyone else. But I don't see this team being in contention for the division, really, or the wild card at all. Right, probably around that 72 win mark for them. Next up is the New York Mets. ESPN has their odds set at 90.5 wins this season, with 13-1 odds to win the World Series. They were very aggressive this offseason, getting Bo Bichette, Freddie Peralta, Robert, Semien, Devin Williams, Polanco. A lot of some big names for them. I do think they are going to have a little bit of probably an offensive struggle. Bichette and Lindor are going to have to carry by getting on base a lot, and just hope that, Robert drives them in. I don't see this as being like a top tier elite lineup. I definitely don't see it as being a bad lineup either. I think it's very middle of the road. Losing Pete Alonso is big. They lost Edwin Diaz, Nimmo, McNeil, Gregory Soto, Ryan Helsley, Marte, Mullins. They did lose a lot of pieces. They also got a lot in return. They should still be pretty good. I would probably put them a little bit below that 90 win mark. I mean, even last season they had a pretty good team. They ended up finishing at 83 wins. Just a second half collapse pretty much. They still got Juan Soto, so I mean that's big for them. Their projected lineup is going to be Lindor, Soto, Bichette, Polanco, Robert, Beatty, Simeon, Benj, and Alvarez. That's not a bad lineup at all. I just don't think it's one of the elite lineups you'll find around the league. Definitely 1 through 5 is great. If Robert can hit home runs like he should, but that's up in the air. Kind of same thing with Polanco too. Lindor, Soto, and Bichette should be pretty good this season. Rotation, Peralta, McLean, Clay Holmes, they're pretty good. I think the rotation isn't bad. Bullpen's probably not going to be too bad either. I do think that this team will be pretty good. I'd probably put them around the 88 win mark. I think just below 90 is probably their floor, and then I'd put their ceiling probably at like 96, 97, 98 wins probably. I think their floor is probably about 87, 88 wins though. I think this team will be, good, not great, but that's the Mets. Next up is the Washington Nationals. They weren't very aggressive this offseason. They made a few moves, trade with the Rangers for Mackenzie Gore, lost Josh Bell, Harry Ford, they got Miles Mikolas, they got, no one really outstanding they got in return. They lost Gore, they lost Josh Bell, Paul DeJong, nothing crazy. Their opening day lineup's going to look like Abrams, Young, Wood, Lyle, Chaparro, Garcia Jr., Ruiz, Brady House, if he, makes he should, I think, be in the league this year. And then Nunez, Dylan Cruz is optioned to AAA already, so who knows whether he'll be back up or not. He's a good kid. I think he could turn out. He just needs some time to really process the MLB, but I do think this is probably the worst team in the NL East. I know that I said maybe the Marlins would probably be in 4th or 5th, but I think this is probably the 5th place team. The Marlins probably be in 4th or 3rd, depending on them and the Braves. They didn't do anything. Abrams, Wood, and maybe House are the young stars of this team. I think they probably anywhere from 60 to 70 wins. Probably their floor is probably 55, ceiling being 70. I don't think this team's going to be very good at all. MLB has their odds at 65.5 wins, being second to last, and I guess tied for last with the World Series odds. Second to last in total wins. This team, they didn't do too much. They don't have money, so they don't want to spend. And that's what you get. The product on the field won't be very good, but it's the Nationals. It is what it is. Next up is the Philadelphia Phillies. Last year finishing with 96 wins. ESPN has them at 89.5 wins this season, being 16-1 odds to win the World Series. I think that their projected day lineup is pretty good. They'll be pretty good this season. Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Bohm, Marsh, Adolis Garcia, Stott, Real Muto, and Justin Crawford. I think this is a pretty solid lineup. Hopefully Justin Crawford works out for them. I know he spent a lot of time in the minors just because this team's been really good. And they got Schwarber to a new deal, Real Muto to a new deal, signed Adolis Garcia. Although losing Ranger Suarez, Bader, Castellanos, those are big pieces from the team of last season. But I still think they'll be pretty good with this lineup and rotation. Also bringing up Andrew Painter. He's been in the minor leagues for a couple seasons now. He's supposed to be very good. And Aaron Nola, and he's been pitching pretty well on the World Baseball Classic. So look out for him this season. And Zach Wheeler's in rehab. They say he should be back within, the next month or so. I would guess probably end of April, early May, if I had to predict. But yeah, I mean, they're old, but it's now or never for the Phillies. I still think they're going to be really good. I'd say their floor is probably that 88, 89 wins, and then their ceiling's probably, 98 to 100. Last season they were pretty freaking good, 96 wins. and I think they can do it again. Even though losing like Suarez and Castellanos, that's not the end of the world for them. Their young guys are going to have to step up in those places, but I do think they got some good young prospects that can do that. And the veterans are going to just have to ball out like they should, with Trey Turner, Harper, and Schwarber, and Real Muto, being the core four there. They're going to have to step up big time, but I think they'll probably win the division. Mets will be in second, and then I'll probably go Braves in third, then Marlins, then Nationals. But that's the NL East. Let's hop into the NL Central. Hopping into the NL Central, we're going to start off with the Milwaukee Brewers, last year's best team in baseball. ESPN has them at 84.5 wins and 35-1 odds to win the World Series. I think that's pretty disrespectful. They didn't lose a whole lot this offseason. They even get Brandon Woodruff back, and they're going to be good. They're going to be good as last year. My floor would probably be 93 wins, ceiling being 100-plus wins. The rotation's good. Their lineup's good. Their bullpen's going to be really good. I think that Churio, even though he played pretty bad in the World Baseball Classic, I think he's still a great young player that they have. And then Turang, Contreras, Yelich, Vaughn, Frelick, everyone else, they're going to be a good team. And I think that it's really disrespectful that ESPN kind of has them this low at 84.5 wins. Like I said, I think they're a 93 team win at least. Even last season, their numbers were great. They were the best team in baseball last year, 97 wins. The division's only getting worse too. The division's only getting better. But I think that even though the division's still getting better, I think that this team is still going to be really good. The big time getting Woodruff back is huge for them. I think this lineup can compete with anybody and score runs. Turang is great. Churio hopefully will be great again. I'd probably put them in that first or second place spot for the NL Central. That division, anything can happen, especially this season, but probably first or second. Now with the St. Louis Cardinals, I think this is probably another really bad team, probably along with the Nationals and the Rockies, probably one of the worst in baseball. They didn't do anything to get better really this offseason. Signed Dustin May, but he's been injury riddled, and who knows what he's going to end up like this season. Their lineup isn't great. They lost Nolan Arenado, they lost Brendan Donovan, Contreras, Sonny Gray, Mikolas. They lost some good pieces that they had. This is a full-on rebuild for the Cardinals. I don't expect them to be very good this season, and either does ESPN, giving them 69.5 wins and 300-1 odds to win the World Series. I would be surprised if they go over 70 wins. I'd probably put them at the 65-win mark if I had to guess. I just don't think this team is going up in that direction yet. I think they're a major rebuild, so they're probably going to be last place in the NL Central this season. Moving on to probably the tied for first or second best team in the NL Central. This is the Chicago Cubs. I think them and the Brewers will probably be the two best teams, probably interchangeable this season for the NL Central. ESPN has them pretty highly ranked, being at the 88.5 win mark, being 18-1 odds to win the World Series. That's better than the Brewers, but I don't believe that they're actually going to be better than the Brewers. I think they'll probably be, if not equal, probably a little worse. We don't know what their lineup's going to produce this season, but if PCA played like he did in the World Baseball Classic, I think they should be really good. He was great in that. And they got Bregman now. So I think this team and this lineup is going to be able to, be one of the best in baseball. They also added Edward Cabrera to the rotation. So the rotation's pretty solid. Jameson Taillon at the end of it, he's always a solid option, even for a fifth guy. He's really good. Boyd has been pretty good. Like I said, Edward Cabrera, solid team overall. I would probably put them around that, 88 win mark, like I said. But I think that there are some concerns about consistency with this team. If PCA doesn't play like He did in the World Baseball Classic in the first half of last season. There could be some issues. Bregman's getting older. The whole team is up in the air for consistency this season. And I think we'll know by June whether this team is for real or not. But I think they're going to be about that 88 win mark. Probably second, if I had to guess, in the NL Central. Probably Brewers first, Cubs second, and then we'll see for the rest. But the Cubs, they'll still be pretty good. Good offense. Now for the Pittsburgh Pirates, this is my favorite team, so I love diving into this. I think that, ESPN is a little underrating them, but probably right. 78.5 wins coming into the season. I think that it's a little low. I'm just saying. Last year they finished with 71 wins, being last in this division. I think they got only better this year, getting some bats with Brandon Lowe, Ryan O'Hearn, Ozuna, Mangum, and they got some great prospects possibly coming up with the password himself, Garcia. I don't know how to say his first name. And then we got Connor Griffin, the top prospect in baseball as well. Hopefully he'll be up by May. And their projected opening day lineup is Cruz, Horwitz, Brian Reynolds, Ozuna, O'Hearn, Lowe, Bart, Triolo, and Gonzalez. And rotation is going to be good as well. I think if we give some run support to this pitching staff, I think we could be an 85-win team. I really like what they did this offseason. They actually spent some money. I think they're trying to get some hitters in the lineup finally, and they got to give Paul Skeens and this pitching staff some run support. And I think the bullpen is going to be better than last year as well. They kind of fell off. They were middle of the pack by the end of the season, but they were pretty good. All in all, I think that they'll be even better. And if the lineup can be middle of the pack this season and our pitching staff is, top 5, top 7, this is going to be a good ball club. Hard to beat when you got good pitching and good defense. So I think that they go over the 78.5 wins. And like I said, I think they're an 85-win ball club this season. And I look forward and I'm excited to watch them this year. Now jumping into the Cincinnati Reds, I think they'll be a decent team this year. ESPN has them coming in a little bit better than the Pirates at 80.5 wins and 55-1 to win the World Series. I do think that they're not going to be an 80-win team. They got Eugenio Suarez, who hits a lot of home runs, but I don't think they got a whole lot better besides that. They also are going to have Hunter Green starting on the IL to start the season. That's not great for them. The lineup's going to be good, not anything crazy. I think that they only have one pure lefty hitter, which might hurt them a little bit against, pitching matchups and teams that are going to, pitch strategically around them. And then, like I said, they only got Eugenio Suarez. Really, everyone else is just kind of there. They lost Gavin Lux, Austin Hayes. Nothing crazy. They didn't lose much. They didn't gain much besides Eugenio Suarez. But I think this team will be probably about the 78, 77 win mark. I think they'll be worse than the Pirates. I think they'll come in 4th in this division. And I just, I'm really banking on the Pirates to be good and the Reds to be bad this season. And that's what we're going to go with. And I think that the lineups and the pitching staffs up head to head, I think the Pirates are just going to be a better team this year. Probably a little biased, but who cares? I like 80.5 wins. It's a lot. And I just don't think that they're going to get there. I think they're 78-win ball club, 75 possibly. But we'll see if Eugenio Suarez can hit home runs this year or not. Last year he had 49, so he's due for some regression. Hopping into the NL West, we got the Arizona Diamondbacks. Lineup's going to be opening day, going to look like Perdomo, Marte, Corbin Carroll, Moreno, and Arenado, Santana, Smith, Lawler, Thomas. I don't think it's a bad lineup, nor do I think it's going to be anything good against the NL West, who's probably going to be a very good division this season. And their pitching staff is really Gallen in the rotation. Corbin Burns probably going to be back around All-Star break, so they'll get him for the second half. And then Merrill Kelly is going to be on the IL to start the season too. I don't really think that they're going to be that good. An old Arenado, an old Carlos Santana. What really are they going to be for them? Probably not crazy, amount to anything crazy. Their odds coming into the season is going to be 79.5 wins, 70-1 to win the World Series. I'd probably put them a little bit worse than that. Honestly, last year they had 80 wins, and I just think they're probably going to be worse than last season. I'd probably put them about the 70 win mark, probably coming in fourth this season. I just don't think they got that much better, if any at all. And starting the year with 2 pitchers on the IL already, and only getting Arenado really and Santana, it's not great. Corbin Carroll also didn't play in the World Baseball Classic because of an injury as well. Not great either. So I don't really think this team's going to win 80 games. I see them winning more 70. So yeah, that's just my opinion on the D-backs. Hopping into the Los Angeles Dodgers, obviously the probably unanimous World Series favorites this year. ESPN and DraftKings has them coming in at 102.5 wins and only plus 230 to win the World Series, which is insane. Last year they only had 93 wins, even with the stacked roster they have, but they got better. They got Kyle Tucker, Edwin Diaz, re-signed Hernandez, Rojas, Phillips. They really didn't lose a whole lot. If anything at all, their lineup's going to be disgusting again. Ohtani, Tucker, Betts, Freeman, Smith, Hernandez, Muncy, Pages, Rojas. You can't really avoid anyone in that lineup. They're going to beat you 1-9 really every time probably. I would expect them to be a 100-win team this season, especially getting Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz is huge for them. And they won the World Series back-to-back already, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go 3 in a row. The rotation's good as ever. Bullpen's good as ever. They got the Japanese players in Yamamoto, Ohtani, who's going to be pitching too. Sasaki, it's going to be a tough road ahead for the NL, and whoever the Dodgers are playing, it's going to be a tough game. But I do think that this team, is probably over 100 wins. 102 is a little high, but I think that this team is built perfectly to get, that 102 mark, or possibly even break the record and get up to like 110, 115. Who knows what they get up to this season with the amount of firepower they have in the lineup, in the pitching rotation, the bullpen. But obviously the favorite, as they should be. Now hopping into the San Francisco Giants. Last year they finished with 81 wins. ESPN has them this year at 80.5 wins and 60-1 to win the World Series, which is probably pretty accurate for them. I don't think they got a whole lot better. I don't think they got a whole lot worse. Probably middle of the pack, being in third or fourth for this division. The lineup on opening day is probably going to look like Ramos, Devers, Chapman, Adames, Arias, Encarnacion, Jung-Ho Lee, Bader, Bailey, and then they got Logan Webb and Robbie Ray eating up innings in the rotation. Bullpen, not bad, not great. They got Bader. Arias is a huge gift for them. They have some big swing and miss guys with Devers and Chapman. Arias kind of probably offset that a little bit. And they also have Bryce Eldridge, who's going to be in AAA. I know he's supposed to be pretty good. And I think this is pretty accurate description for what this team's going to be, about that 80.5 win mark, probably floor of 75, max 80, 82 for a ceiling for me. I don't think they're going to be great. I don't think they're going to be bad. Pretty much your middle of the road, middle of the pack type of team. Hopping into the San Diego Padres, their opening day lineup's going to look like Bogarts, Merrill, Machado, Tatis, Loreno, Cronenworth, Castellanos, Andujar, and Furman. Gavin Sheets is probably going to be in the mix a lot this season as well. Rotation, not bad. Joe Musgrove's going to be, on the IL to start this season, coming back from Tommy John, but they don't expect him to be out too long. Overall, they have this San Diego Padres team sitting at 83.5 wins and 35-1 odds to win the NL West. I think this division is just super tough with the Giants are going to be okay. The Padres will probably be okay, but the Dodgers are going to be really good. So it is a tough division with, competing with the Dodgers. They lost Luis Arias. They lost Dylan Cease. They lost Robert Suarez. Ryan O'Hearn too. I just can't see this team being better than last year at all. They had 90 wins last season. I think they're probably going to be around the 80 floor, probably 85 ceiling. Maybe get into the playoffs. I don't know, but not a great team, not a bad team. Probably a little bit better than the Giants. I'd probably put them second. It'd probably be Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Diamondbacks, and Rockies. Pretty much the same as last year. I just think the Dodgers would probably go over that 100 win mark. Padres be about 80 to 85. Giants anywhere from 75 to 80. Diamondbacks probably about that 70 win mark, and Rockies are going to be pretty bad again. But I think that the Padres aren't going to be terrible. I don't expect them to make the playoffs this season, though. I would have my Pirates over them, honestly. Now, to round out the NL, we got the Colorado Rockies, probably going to be the worst team in baseball once again. Lineup's going to be looking like McCarthy, Castro, Goodman, Moniak, Tovar, Beck, Brenton Doyle, Rumfield, Caros. There's not really much to love in that lineup. I do like Brenton Doyle. I think he's a pretty solid player. McCarthy's not bad. Moniak didn't play terrible last year. I just don't think there's, they didn't do anything. They didn't spend any money. They didn't really lose anyone because they're pretty trash anyway. They lost Kyle Farmer, but, he's okay. They still got Kyle Freeland, who's going to give up 100 home runs this season pitching at home. They're just going to be bad. Probably another 40 to 50 wins this season. Just really bad, but there's not really much else to say about them. They're going to be the worst team in baseball. ESPN and DraftKings thinks that as well, giving them 54.5 wins. I just don't think this team's going to be good. I think everyone's on the same page about that. But that's the NL breakdown for you guys. Make sure, if you made it this far, like and subscribe. Would love to grow this channel and, hopefully a good season this year for my Pirates. And I'm looking forward to the MLB year. Let's have a good one.